the time to show gratitude and appreciation towards the members of the Council of Arlington to allow me the time to address personal liberties. My name is David Miller Leslie. I'm a proud combat veteran, 8 years in the Marine Corps from 98 to 06. I've served in Iraq as a Blackheart, Boss Company, 2nd Battalion, 5th Marines. I've also continued my service in the Department of Defense for 7 years combined in Iraq, Afghanistan, and ended up in the Balkans. During that time, I housed numerous billets, all the way up to being the only civilian contractor allowed to be an incident command officer over incidents at BBC Iraq. Arlington City Ordinance Section 15.02 Prohibited Acts was last amended in January 18, 2011, and I believe now there needs to be more amendment. Though the nature of this ordinance may seem innocent in and of itself, however, the enforcement of this ordinance has become a clear infringement of every American's inherent right of free speech. The nature in which this ordinance has been enforced upon groups of Texans is unjust and violates every aspect of free speech and the right of the people to assemble peacefully. This not only is a clear violation of our Bill of Rights, but it violates Section 1 of the Texas Constitution. Texas is a free and independent state, only subject to the Constitution of the United States. Furthermore, the enforcement of this ordinance terrorizes Texans from believing in Section 2 of the state constitution. They have at all times the inalienable right to alter, reform, and abolish the government in such manner as they may think expedient. Freedom of speech is not just a right I cherish. It is one that I've defended with a loaded weapon around the world, and it is a freedom I have seen roll down the faces of Iraq and Afghanistan citizens in grateful tears. These inherent rights are unconditional and protected by our state and national constitution. Furthermore, it is protected from international organizations, freedom of speech. Just for an example, and I understand we don't follow it, but United Nations, Universal Declaration of Human Rights, Article 2, Article 7, Article 18, Article 19, and Article 20 are being violated. Furthermore, the conduct in which this ordinance is being enforced violates every successful defense of free speech, from cases defended by the ACLU to rulings by the United States Supreme Court, which they just had over free speech. The conduct in which this ordinance is being enforced increases the public's opinion that our prestigious law enforcement officers are wind up becoming public bullies. And before the merits of this ordinance are defended, may I remind the Council of inspirational words spoken by Benjamin Franklin. They who can give up essential liberties to obtain a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty nor safety. That being said, this isn't the first time the Council has been addressed by citizens over the inherent violation this enforcement of this ordinance creates. Since this is the case, it is my honest belief that this Council openly chooses to violate a citizen's personal liberties and continue our society's moral malleability. Because there are those who profess to live by a traditional moral code are deemed by a small minority of society of being intolerant. And the continuation of this Council to enforce the ordinance increases the level of intolerance we are seeing as a nation. Our personal liberties restrain you, the government, not us as a society, more so in regards to freedom of speech. And before the Council can react towards the conduct in which the United States Constitution is being handed out in pamphlet form to our fellow citizens, or the objection to such education certain groups are performing within the city for the public, it is clear this Council deems this information objectionable based off of y'all's actions. Regardless of the message, regardless of which the message is being delivered to the public, may I remind the City Council of Texas versus Johnson. Though it is completely horrific to watch our nation's glorious flag being burned by one of its own citizens, that is a form of protected speech. And considering the injustice this ordinance has created by the continuing actions, what's next for our proud citizens? Are we going to become like California, where they prohibit our school kids from going to public schools with a t-shirt of the United States flag on it because others see that as an injustice. I leave this council with the last remaining words. If we cannot trust men and women with freedom, how are we ever going to trust men and women with power? Thank you.